Survivor Record, written and recorded by Dan Sandoval. Music by various artists from Looperman.
Survivor Record, 768, May 7th, 43. I was 6 when the lights went out, maybe 7. Time is different now, muddy. I remember watching TV, cartoons, and the screen went black. I told my mom, but all the lights were out. People stood out in the street talking while the kids played. And we heard gunshots, and everyone got really scared and stayed inside with candles, battery-powered radios, listening through the static for something, anything. They talked about trucks coming to fix everything, and there were more gunshots. We didn't have food for the first time, and I remember being hungry. My mom looked so thin and tired, so afraid. I didn't understand, but no one did. Then they came and took us in the trucks. Big green monsters to a little kid crammed in with a lot of other frightened, screaming people. People who wanted answers. No one had any. And the tents stank. I was always hungry and bored. Lights out meant no more candles or kerosene lamps, no talking. Then one morning, there was more gunfire, and the big green trucks were gone. We went to the woods, and there were a few others then, Clint, Holly, Mike, Sharon. I remember their faces. Just ghosts in the wind now. I was probably 10 the first time I saw a husk. We heard of them, rumors from other groups we had encountered. There were only 5 of us then, somewhere north of Arkansas near the Friendly River. I was off the trail some and almost ran into the mass that had been a man, now paper like a hornet's nest. I wanted to touch it, to understand how this could happen. No one had ever seen an ender at that point, but the stories traveled among groups, shadows of sickness and death. No one knew where they came from or how it all started. We just tried to live, to avoid the gangs and the cults. They all died eventually. I was around 19, the great winter, when I met Grace. I kinda saved her, but she really saved me. The sickness had come upon a pack of coyotes. They looked like undead hounds of hell, manged and twisted. She was trapped on an old barn roof, and I saw her from the ridge and heard the unnatural howls and snarls. Fire frightens things that have the sickness, and they run or cower. I only had a few oiled rags left from the last camp, where I had left a few supplies. The winter had been long, and Jason had not returned from scouting, so I had to go find him. I shot the flaming arrow into the side of one of them, and it flailed among the rest, howling in its death. Grace would cry for a long time at night whenever she heard them out there. 2 springs later, when Hope was born, we saw our first offender. It came like a falling star into the lake. A being of light who ebbed in the sun, almost like crystal. We didn't know if it was an angel or an alien. We knew it stopped the enders, pushed them back, or banished them somehow. Shadows in the woods broke into flocks, twisted raven-like smoke, billowing up in the wind away from the blinding light of the floating being. More defenders came in other forms, but always in crystalline light pushing out the enders. They never spoke or contacted anyone that I have ever heard of. They just came. Not long after, or no more enders. Just the husks, and the dead, in a broken world that they left with a few of us still in it. The sickness left when they did too, and the burnt grounds grew green again. And our little group pressed on to the east, growing little by little, until you found us.
Command Outpost 7 Intake Report. Survivors found no signs of infections or mutations.
All readings indicate 95% and above in accuracy of statements from all candidates. Upon debriefing, these survivors are clear to enter decon and be further evaluated for placement. Lieutenant John Kendall, May 8th, 43.